If you are a woman over 40 and you are not happy with your finances, this video is for you. Hi there. I am having a cup of tea. Thank you for joining me. I want to talk about real wealth. Real wealth is the awareness that you are a sovereign being. Real wealth is an ethos. And don't worry, I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of money and finances. But real wealth is it's an ethos, it's an awareness, it's a state of mind, but it's rooted in you knowing that you are a sovereign being. Because when you know that you are a sovereign being, when you are aware of it, when you are living in that awareness, then you are operating from a place of agency, of choice, that you know that you are the one directing your life, no matter what the circumstances are happening all around you. That is a very empowering place to be. That is a place where you feel more in control of your life. You are living in a recognition that you are the leader of your life, that you are the conductor. When we are operating from a space like that, it's transformational, because we aren't living then at the affect of everything that's happening. And I'm not saying that that the average human, and I'm not saying that this is a place that you're in every second, but the more that you practice it, the more that you choose it, the more it actually will become your default setting. It's a choice. Yes, there's a dominant field out here in this human realm that is pulling us in a lot of other directions. But the people that are successful, the people that you may look to and wonder, how did they get there and why am I not there? It's because they are operating from a different perspective. And real wealth is when you are living in your awareness that you are a sovereign being. And as a result of living from that space, you are magnetic. You are living in a state of more ease and grace. You are seeing things more clearly. You are more open. You are just more optimized in general. And one of the most powerful things you can do as it relates to your financial reality is knowing your money story. So stay with me for a moment. We all have a money story. I don't care how many zeros you have in your bank account. We all got one. It's like equal opportunity, okay? So your money story is essentially the messages, the experience, the inner experience that you couldn't see and name, that you picked up on from your origin, from where you began your life, from that home, from those individuals, from your culture, your surroundings that were making up a good bit of your formative years. That is almost always where our money story is rooted. Some of us get a lot of messages, sometimes very overt and direct, some indirect, but there is a lot of intel that comes that creates our relationship with money. You do have a relationship with money. Whether you are living in that consciousness or not, you have a relationship with money, just like anything else that's impacting you in this lifetime. But when you start to understand your money story, when you start to do that inner excavation, when you start to get curious and stay in a place of curiosity so that you can be in that compassionate place and recognize that's just part of the human journey. It's not about wrong making. It's not about finding more things to fix. It's about shining a light and creating awareness so that you can then work with it from a level of consciousness that allows you to be in that leader, in that conductor, in that CEO energy that I was talking about that's connected to real wealth. When you start to understand your money story, you will recognize, you'll remember the beliefs that you picked up, whether it was not enough, whether it was hard, whether it was those people get it, we don't get it, or the opposite. It doesn't really matter. I've met people that are trust fund recipients, people that are self-made, and live in complete scarcity and fear of money. So it doesn't really matter how much money you have. We all have a money story. And unless you know what it is and you are consciously working with it and over time reprogramming it, it will control you. It is at the root of your financial situation right now. So anything about your financial situation that you would like to be different, it roots back to that time and place. So there's something really powerful about asking yourself some questions about, what beliefs do I have about money? What was the message I heard about money? How did money flow in and out of the home that I grew up in? How was money talked about? It's really powerful to see that, to see how your subconscious relates with money and impacts how you make choices consciously, maybe not always consciously, but how it's directing your life today. You might know how you relate with money in certain ways, but still not be connecting it to your story. And when you can know that story and have compassion for that story and stay attuned to that story, where you can then start to heal that story and move beyond it, that's a whole new life. That's like turning a significant corner, because when you take charge of something in that kind of authorship, it's a really powerful place to live your life from. It's so empowering that it trickles into other areas of your life. And one of the reasons why I talk about it, and I've been talking about it mostly on TikTok, I'll start talking about it more here on YouTube, is because we are human beings, we are physical beings here, and most of us relate more with ourselves as a human versus how I've shared before that my orientation is that I am a soul having a human experience, not that I'm a human who happens to have a soul, and it shifts the way that I relate with my human journey. But most of us are living in that, entrenched in that, and the ego is really running things. So the ego is living more from a polarity mindset. It's moving more from a, how can I anticipate and protect and control and save face? And it's all that stuff that just piles on and creates more of news stories. But when you start to come into a place where you are taking responsibility for part of your mental, emotional makeup, it's a very powerful thing. It's a very empowering thing. And because we need money, because we want often more money, and because money does give us access, money does often give us things that we can't have without it. It can give us dreams, it can fulfill dreams, it can give us like travel, it can help us acquire things, it can help us have a home, it can help us help others, help us build movements. Money is a conduit for many things in this physical realm. It doesn't define you, and it doesn't actually make you happy at the end of the day, but it supports you in creating situations and circumstances that does support your happiness and your peace and your fulfillment. So I like to talk about it because when we feel more empowered with our money, when you feel more empowered with your money, you will feel more empowered with, honestly, probably every other thing in your life. There might be some other, obviously, soft spots and spots where you have healing, but because it's such a dominant force in how we operate here in this human realm, when you have a relationship with it where you are aware of it, you're tracking it, you're connected to it, you're respecting it, you're just awake to your money habits and your money relationship and how you receive it and how you spend it. It's a very transformative, energetic, that relationship. So that's why I'm really passionate about it, excited about it. To be honest, it wasn't something that came to me right away. It was something that was pointed out to me because of my lifestyle and how I live and what I've created. Now, I'll be really honest, I'm building an online business right now, and I am not a 7-figure business owner yet. That is my intention. I would not be here doing that because there's things that I want to create. There's service projects I want to fulfill. And money does not define me in that way because I've already lived a certain level of life and life experience. And I've also reckoned with that relationship because I definitely had my money story, and it creeps in every now and then. I'm not going to lie, for sure. And it's definitely come in my business building. And I'm thinking about talking more about that. It's pretty more vulnerable, but I'm definitely considering that. And what I want to share though is that I was in and out of debt so many times. It started in college. Actually, I remember getting my first credit card. It was for a store called Mervyn's. So I don't know if any of you know that store because it's definitely not around anymore. And it was the easier card to get, but it wasn't super easy because Sears was also a store then, and that was a super hard credit card. But it was a way of starting to establish credit. And it was also a way of feeling like you're becoming an adult. And that was pretty much it. I did acquire a little bit of debt, but not much. And I always had a job, so I was always able to buy things for myself, and I was independent in that way, even as a teenager. But when I went to university, you're on the freshman campus, and they're there, visas there, trying to get you Bank of America, that at the time, the highest interest rate was like 19.8. Now it's well over that. And that's where it begins. And then for me, a lot of my debt was acquired. Some of it was definitely for undergrad and then graduate school, and that was all very intentional and conscious. But it was a heavy weight for a long time because I did not come from money, and it took me a while to get to a financial place within my career to be able to not only pay it off, but live in a way that like having a car issue wasn't going to freak me out because I had money. But that took a long time. And part of how I kept myself living in what I would say not a wealthy, real wealth experience was that I always had this debt. Credit cards with $10,000, $4,000, and sometimes moving them around for better interest rates. And some of it was like experiences. There definitely was food and experiences with people. There was clothes, just stuff that if I had had a healthier awareness and had other things modeled to me, I may not have done any of that. But that was a tension that I lived in for a long time. And I was in and out of debt, I want to say at least 3, if not 4 or 5 times. And the last time I was in debt was 2018. I was $48,000 in debt. And that did not feel good. And at the time, I was working in nonprofit, so I had actually cut my annual salary in half. And that debt included my car, but I was really clear that I just did not want to be carrying debt anymore. And I attended I think it was at my church, and somebody gave a testimonial about how this young woman paid off her debt. And she actually had more debt than me when she was sharing this story. And I know she was not making probably even half the salary I was making at the time. And I was floored at how her testimony was so powerful. And I talked to her more about it, and I ended up doing Dave Ramsey. There's a book that you can buy for like $100, and I joined a group, and this was the beginning of helping me get more just living in responsibility of my finances. And I think her testimony became something I could no longer deny, because I was like, if she can do that, then I have no legitimate excuse. And I just didn't want to feel that oppressiveness of feeling honestly locked into a life that I had to keep exactly as it was, or just feeling driven by those decisions to pay off that debt. It just felt suffocating to me, and I just didn't want that for myself. And I definitely had a lot of shame and stuff around it, and I had to work through that. But it was more that I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm beyond this. I've learned enough lessons. I can make a great salary now. Just doesn't work for me anymore. So it took me a couple of years. And at the end of 2020, I paid my last credit card. And at the end of 2021, I made my last payment. It was like 12/31/2021. I paid off my car. And it's a feeling. I know I'm not judging debt. I might have some debt in the future. It might be strategic. It definitely will probably happen around my business. But this was unconscious debt. This was like turning away debt. This was like not wanting to see what was going on, avoiding. That was avoidance debt. And that I was out of integrity, and it was eroding my self-esteem. So I'm sharing all this to share a little bit about what, that I do have a situation that was not great and maybe you can relate to, and it's possible. And now it's a new reality. And I don't even know, when I have a nice car and I take care of it and I don't drive it a lot, so I'm good. But when I get a new car, because at some point I will, I'm really clear that I am going to have at least half in cash and a plan to pay it off within a year. Otherwise, I'm not getting it, no matter how much money I have in the bank, because I just don't personally, I just don't want to owe a bunch of creditors. And that's a personal choice. That's a choice that gives me freedom and inner freedom. And it keeps me connected to that choice on the physical level because, when I know I don't have to stay locked into any agreement because I'm not beholden to that money. And that changes your life. It does. And I want that, or some version, whatever that is, as you define it, I want that for you. I want that for more women, because I want more women to come more fully into who she is and why she's here. And your money situation is one of the most foundational, powerful things that almost nothing doesn't sit next to it except for healing more stuff on the inside. When you get free of a financial situation that you are not feeling good about, it changes your life. And there's healing that has to be done for sure. As I mentioned, some of that money story stuff is the beginning. And there's definitely healing that I did. And sometimes it comes back around. I have to be mindful of it. But the last thing I want to say about this, and I will talk more about this in other videos, is a key component of this that I've been basically referencing, but not directly, is nervous system. My nervous system was conditioned to never have money. My nervous system was conditioned that however it comes in, it all goes out, paycheck to paycheck. So even when I was making in the six-figure salary, I still, for many years, never had anything left over because my nervous system was connected to never having anything in the bank. It was connected to always spending it all. And I spent a lot of money on my loved ones and on experiences for sure. I like to enjoy life, and that has been really important to me. Experiences with people is a core value of mine. And the nervous system is a really, really big piece of what's controlling your life. And there is beginning to be a lot more education around it. You hear things like about the vagus nerve. There's more teachers coming forward. There's the somatic work, the breath work. All of that is helping you tune into, connect with, become aware and conscious of, noticing all the ways that your inner workings, which a big piece of that is your nervous system, is impacting your sense of self, your quality of life, how you feel, what you think is possible for you. So nervous system work is a really powerful piece of getting in right relationship with your finances. I think that's all I'm going to say today. Thank you for having some tea with me. I hope this was helpful for you in any way. And I do have a quiz, the Money Mirror quiz. It's really quick and it's actually inspired by attachment theory, and it will help you connect with, or perhaps reconnect with, your dominant archetype as it relates to you, your emotional default on how you relate with your finances, which often is how you relate with other really important things. So I'll put the link down below. I'm also going to be hosting a 90-minute Money Mirror workshop. This is the first time I'm sharing this. I don't know who's going to see this, but I want to put it out there. And I'll put the link for the waitlist on that below as well. Please share anything in the comments. Ask me any questions. I'm really, really invested. This is a message that I'm beginning to spread far and wide, and now I'm bringing it to being a part of this YouTube channel. And that's it. My name is Jennifer Herrera. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate you so much. Until next time.